Culture is more than just song and dance or architecture. It is the cumulative deposit of knowledge, experience, belief, values, attitudes, meanings, hierarchies, religion, notions of time, roles, spatial relations, concepts of the universe, and material objects and possessions acquired by a group of people in the course of generations through individual and group striving. Cultures cannot be separated from societies in which they emerge, develop, and at times decline, and are subsumed by other cultures or fade away altogether. Cultural boundaries are diffuse, but the term tradition or culture can easily lend itself to ideas of a single society and its temporal linear extent. Tradition and culture, linked as they are to the idea of identity, can also be construed to denote exclusivity, which can be troublesome. Every culture evolves certain unique features of its own, which, in their entirety and interrelatedness, constitute its dominant configuration and differentiate it from other cultures. Indian culture is distinguished from others in respect of its continuity and heterogeneity, its accommodating ethos, and its composite plural character. India has played host to cultural streams from different parts of the world. In the course of time, they were assimilated and adapted to life in India. The process of adaptation and interaction among the various groups brought about, on the one hand, India's characteristic diversity, and on the other, our composite cultural tradition. The development of a multicolored cultural tapestry was succinctly summed up by the poet Raghupati Rai Firak. सरज़मीने हिंद पर अक़वाम आलम के फ़िराक़ कारवां आते गए हिंदुस्तान बसता गया. Almost a century ago, Dr. Tarachand had observed, and I quote him, Indian culture is synthetic in character. It comprehends ideas of different orders. It embraces in its orbit beliefs, customs, rites, institutions, arts, religions, and philosophies belonging to strata of society in different stages of development. It eternally seeks to find a unity for the heterogeneous elements which make up its totality. At worst, its attempts end in mechanical juxtaposition. At best, they succeed in evolving an organic system. End of quote. Few people celebrate diversity and plurality the way India does. All the religions in the world are equally revered here, and linguistic and cultural diversity of our country is unparalleled. People in India have lived in harmony for centuries and will continue to do so. As Rabindranath Tagore observed, and I quote him here, in spite of our great difficulty, however, India has done something. She has tried to make an adjustment of races to acknowledge the real differences between them where these exist, and yet seek for some basis of unity. End of quote. The unity of India is often assumed and taken for granted. it is seldom subjected to a critical examination in a diachronic framework. This is perhaps because the sense of unity which pervades the fabric of Indian society is intangible, and yet it is alive inside every Indian and follows from the day-to-day living in a composite and divergent milieu. Our society has, for centuries, provided a unique social and intellectual environment in which many distinct cultural streams have not only coexisted peacefully but have also enriched each other. The Indian approach to cultural change has been one of seamless accommodation. The diversity of Indian cultural landscape is a result of not just toleration of newer and different elements, but of its acceptance. This is to be witnessed in all aspects of our daily life. There may be reason to believe, therefore, that the current tide of globalization would not submerge the Indian cultural identity, but would add an Indian dimension to a globalizing culture. Our right to enjoy the cultural artifacts and to participate in the cultural life of the community is reflected in UN's 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This prohibits illicit trafficking of artifacts and cultural objects, pillaging of archaeological sites, and destruction of historical buildings and monuments, since it causes irreparable damage to the cultural heritage of a community. These principles have been amplified in UNESCO's various international conventions on the protection of cultural heritage. In our own constitution, Article 49 provides the directive to the state to protect monuments and objects of artistic and historic interest from spoliation and destruction. In addition, Article 51AF makes it a duty of every citizen to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Laws and regulations can provide framework for our action, but educating our youth about the value of our pluralistic heritage is perhaps the best way to ensure that our heritage is preserved. I commend the Indian Trust for Rural Heritage and Development for their initiative in preserving our cultural heritage, both tangible and intangible, in the rural areas, including by educating youth and generating awareness about the issue. I wish them success in their future endeavors and wish you all a very happy World Heritage Day. Before I conclude, the most famous of Arabic poets in the heydays of Baghdad as a cultural and political center of the world, his name was Mutanabbi, Al-Mutanabbi. And he wrote a couplet which is most appropriate for cultural preservation. I shall translate it. These are our remains. They remind you of us. Look after our remains when we are gone. It is much better in the original Arabic, but so be it. Jai Hind.
Why don't you say it in the original Arabic?
अब तो कह दिया ओरिजिनल अरबिक में तिलकल आसारुना tadullu alayna. These are our remains. They remind you of us. فَأُنْزُرُوا بَعْدُنَا عَلَى الْآثَارِ. And look after them as our remains when we are gone.
From cowries to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicator's daughter.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ansari and you're watching Law of the Land.
Ministry of Water Resources shall make all efforts to get the best available data, get the best people.
The dispute cannot be solved by negotiation. It has the authority to refer a dispute to the tribunal.
The major complaint of the tribunal going on an unending expedition has now been removed.
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha television.
Jade was popular during Mughal era and gained prominence during Akbar's rule in 15th and 16th century. It came all the way from Iran and Central Asia in attractive colors. The royalty had a unique use for it, since jade changed color when it came in contact with arsenic. They started utensils like plates, jars, bowls, and even hookah with it, and thereby avoided getting poisoned by rivals.
Gopal Rajka ji, Anil Khaitan ji, Sanjeev Dugal ji, Saurabh Sanyal ji, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. By the year 2020, almost 60% of India's population of 1.3 billion will be in the working age group of 15 to 59 years. Of these, 144 million will be in the 18 to 23 age bracket. It is also predicted that the aging in developed world would create a shortfall of some 56 million workers by the year 2030. The key to reaping our demographic dividend would be in adequately skilling our people. We need to bear in mind that presently only 2.3% of the Indian workforce has undergone formal skill training, as compared to 68% in the United Kingdom and 52% in the United States. If we are able to provide quality skills to our people, we can make India into a human resource powerhouse of the world. If we fail in this task, then we are looking at unprecedented high rates of unemployment and a host of attendant problems. I see three major challenges before us in the task of providing adequate skills building opportunities for our people. Firstly, it is the challenge of quality. It is said that society which scorns excellence in plumbing as a humble activity and tolerates shoddiness in philosophy because it is an exalted activity will have neither good plumbing nor good philosophy. Neither its pipes nor its theories will hold water. We need to promote excellence in all spheres in our lives if India is to be a global leader and play a pivotal role in world affairs and economy. In all our endeavors, quality needs to be central, whether it is our primary schools or institutions of higher learning. A substandard primary phase later metastasizes into a stream of graduates who do not have the required talent levels and skill sets. So even before we focus on enhancing our capacities and the quality in vocational training or higher education, we need to ensure that our primary education system is robust and imparts quality education. The second challenge is the challenge of numbers. Even as the number of people seeking skills has increased exponentially, we are looking at increasingly inadequate number of trainers. In an answer to the Lok Sabha on the 24th of February last year, the government had informed that there is a shortage of 100,000 trainers to implement skill development programs across the country. Such shortages create bottlenecks for dispersal of skills. In addition, the required skill sets are very dynamic as the nature of industry and manufacturing as well as the demands for the services sector changes. In the face of increasing automation, that may render several employment streams irrelevant. There is a requirement for reskilling our works in addition to training new workers on new and skilling new skill sets. This renders the skill sets of the trainers obsolete, and I repeat obsolete, unless the trainers keep reorienting themselves. To become and remain competitive, we need not just skill our requirements of today, but skills of tomorrow. And the third challenge is the challenge of perception. The general perception of our people about vocational training continues to be low, and Mr. Dugal has dilated on it at great length. Gaining a vocational skill is still seen as a means of last resort or a choice for those who have not been able to progress in the formal academic system. This mental block exacerbates the gap between what the industry requires and what is currently available. A society needs a broad spectrum of skills, It needs engineers, scientists, and doctors as much as it needs the sanitation workers or plumbers or electricians. We need to groom a reservoir of young talent that is well educated and equipped with the latest breakthroughs in knowledge. But we also need to equip millions who still fall outside the pale of formal higher education. We have to provide avenues to engage them productively by skilling them appropriately. It is therefore important to educate our youth on the dignity of labor and to align the vocation seekers' aspirations with industry expectations, both on the wages as well as the work profile. Skilled workers are required to successfully implement the government initiatives such as Digital India, Swachh Bharat, Make in India, and Smart Cities, etc. As only skilled workers can make the most of opportunities being created by such schemes. We also need to convince employers to hire the skilled force rather than look for cheaper, unskilled, and poorly skilled resources. This when the primary challenge faced by over 75% of Indian businesses is the shortage of technical or specific skills. Our approach should be aimed at bridging the skill gap and addressing the problems of unemployability of our youth. Friends, the government is conscious of the need to impart skills training to our people. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address to the nation from the Red Fort on the 15th of August 2014, had said that skilling is building a better India. If we have to move India towards development, then skill development should be our mission. Initiatives like formation of skill sector councils and formulation of the national skills qualification frameworks, amongst others, came about between the years 2009 and 2014. The National Policy on Skill Development and Entrepreneurship of 2015 takes those initiatives forward. The launch of new initiatives like Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY, and the very ambitious Skill India initiatives that aim to train about 30 crore people by the year 2020 are much needed efforts. These initiatives would, however, need an inclusive approach to succeed, with special focus on the 800 million or so citizens who remain at the bottom of the pyramid. Given the dynamic nature of the industry requirements, our policies would need constant revision to keep them relevant and effective for skilling our people at scale with speed and quality. The PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry has been proactive in promoting skill development infrastructure in the country to address the skill gaps. It has worked at the grassroots level and, leveraging its strong national and international linkages, has played an important advocacy role in this direction. The present seminar is a positive step on the path of skilling India. I wish you successful deliberations. Jai Hind.